Welcome, everybody, to Tuesdays with Karen and Martha.
Yes, welcome everyone.
Tonight we're going to talk about how to start your own private homeschool. You can do it, and we want to give you the confidence to know that you're doing the right thing. So, welcome, Dr. Martha Joseph Watts. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi everyone, I am Dr. Martha Joseph Watts, and I have been an educator for a very long time, 30 years plus. And I met a beautiful person, Karen. She has also been an educator for a very long time. And we happen to share the same sentiments, which is making sure that parents have a choice. And we both have been in the public school system. We both have experienced this with some level of homeschooling. Karen, of course, is the expert in that area. But I also have a passion for making sure that parents understand that they have a choice. And that's what we are about tonight. And for every Tuesday after tonight, we will be sharing an aspect of our book with you, because Karen has invited me actually to write with her, and we came up with homeschooling in times of COVID-19, and I am elated to be part of this project with Karen. Thank you for having me, Karen.
You are welcome. Thank you. In case anybody wants a copy of this slideshow that we're doing and this whole workshop we're doing for you tonight, you can email either one of us, and be sure to put homeschool now in the subject header, and we will send you copies of some of the inventories and information about our book that we wrote, How to Homeschool in Times of COVID-19. So the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is the intent letter.
Karen, before you begin, can you just tell them a little more about you? Because I really think they need to know that you are a real homeschooling expert and that you have been doing this thing for a while. You've had your own school. And so just remind people of your stance and your everything.
My microphone, I'm sorry, I'm going crazy here. My microphone's faced the other way. Is that better with the sound now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I've been teaching for 30 years too, and my daughter is now 15, and we have done it all. We worked in a charter school. I put her in kindergarten, and then I homeschooled her for a few years, and then we put her in public school, and that didn't work out because they put her on the computer when she had a processing problem, and took her out of recess, and that was not a fun way to learn for her. And we homeschooled then, and then we went into private school, and now we're back in public school. So I have utmost respect for teachers. I myself have taught in Hillside, New Jersey, Shanghai, China, Clearwater, Florida, the University of Florida, and the University of South Florida. So I have taught teachers how to teach. And I want to share some of the things I've learned. Now, one of the parents I talked to last night, I said, there's one rule of thumb I found out from all parents, is that there's no rule of thumb, because you are all individuals.
Individual students. Yep. Your children are all different.
And we want to respect your choices and help you find out how your children is special and unique and gifted, because everyone has a gift, and homeschooling can help you find your child's gift. So I'm really passionate about homeschooling, because it was very tough for me to homeschool my daughter, because, kids sometimes, and it's a long story, but I now see that she's in high school. She plays so many instruments. She's had so many experiences, and she is really enriched from that experience. And it is really helping her build on the scaffolding that I provided for her when she was homeschooled. And you can do it too. So Does that help, Martha? Should I go
It
back?
does.
Okay.
It does help. Yes, it does. It does. Because I
Thank
really
you.
want parents to understand that we're not asking them to choose between. You know, we want them to know that it is a choice that you can make, and you can go back and forth as often as you wish. And for you, you've been homeschooling for 15 years, and you chose to homeschool your child when it was, you know, suitable, and send her back to public school when she was ready.
Yeah,
So we
and now
want parents to know that
she
it's
wanted to
not
be
a
in band, you know, in high school she
Mhm.
loves music, so why should I try to keep her home?
Exactly. But when she could not function in the high school, you had her home to make sure that you gave her that foundation that she needed. And there are parents out here right now who are homebound. I spoke to a parent last week. She said, I am not well, I am home, and so I had to keep them home because she cannot have her kids out there among people who are not well, who might be sick, you know, because she is compromised. So she had to keep her kids home. And so you might be homebound as a parent and you cannot have your children mixing with other children, or your child might be homebound. So you have it in both situations. And so we want to just let you know that we're here for you. If you are a homebound parent or you have a homebound student and you're having struggles, you can homeschool your child. And we will, over the next few weeks, we're going to show you how you can go through the process and how you can ensure your district that your child has made gains at the end, because we all have to be transparent and we all have to be accountable. Homeschooling is an accountable, transparent option that we want you to be aware of.
Exactly. So your school board is your friend. And that's where we're
Yes.
going to start. Contact your school board. Tell them that you really want to do this after you made the decision. And before you make this decision to homeschool, let's talk a little bit about what you're going to need to do to make it work for you. So you will do the contact the school board, complete a letter of intent that tells that you are homeschooling, and we will show you a copy of it. Should I show it right now?
Yes, right now.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, here it is. My son or daughter who lives at blank will be homeschooled this year in 2020, 2021. Please know that I appreciate the education provided by the public school district, but my family feels this is the safest choice at this time. Sincerely, parent or guardian of blah, 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 and give your name and your address and your phone number and your email. And keep a copy of it. Send it, return receipt request. Because that way you can prove that, yes, I did notify the school board. You don't want to have somebody coming back to you and saying your child is truant. They need to keep track of your child. And so a truancy officer will not be after you. So this is very important that you fill out this letter of intent. So, so there we go. Now we also need to know, is it going to work for you? You have to really think, how am I going to do this? And can I work together with my child to do this? Interview your child. You might even want to do a behavior contract or a goal sheet so that you can follow through and set guidelines for them so they know what's expected of them.
Okay, so we can always do the goal sheet part after, but let's go to the interest inventory. And the reason I want to come in here is because I want parents to know that homeschooling is different from e-learning. And I think we have the confusion sometimes. We feel like being at home with your child and your child is sitting in front of the computer doing everything that the school is offering, that is e-learning. That's not homeschooling, even if it's happening from at home. Homeschooling is where we use an interest inventory. And what we're going to present to you today, and it's in our book, Homeschooling in Times of COVID-19, we have provided you with interest inventory for a K through 2 child, middle elementary, and also high school, because it's developmental. So a K through 2 child might be interested in different things than a high school child. So for example, if I have something like solar power energy, I wouldn't put that for the kindergarten child, you know. I would rather put it for high school. So what we have provided you, and Karen, if you just show it up so I could just, you know, expound on it a little bit and you will come in. We have provided you with, in the book has an example, but here on the slide, we have provided you with an example. So you would give that to your child. You could probably read it with them and select the things that they are interested in. If your child likes snails, then we don't want you letting them, you know, introducing them to things about maybe something that makes them scream, you know. So you want to make sure that you do that interest, because it's going to help that child focus. And what happens?
Let me tell you about, I just introduced this to I do homeschool evaluations. And I had a 5-year-old little girl I was evaluating her, no, she was 6. I was evaluating her for first grade. And her mother was kind of nervous because she didn't really learn how to read as much as she should for that first kindergarten year. And this was kindergarten going into first grade. So I said, well, let's look at what she's interested in. And we went through it, and she liked fruit. Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, okay, we're going to do a word of the day, and we're going to do it with fruit. Can you pick a fruit? And she said, apple, which is hard to sound out, but we did. We sounded it out, and then we wrote a sentence with the word fruit, with the word apple. And then she drew a picture of the apple. And then I said, you know, you can do this for a piece of fruit every single day for the next 2 weeks. That's and right. She'll have a little book with all the different fruit, and she likes fruit. Mm-hmm. And so it will have meaning to the child because it's something she is interested in.
Right. So we've taken care of the reading, the sounding out, the spelling, the letter sounds, and that is what we want parents to understand. Homeschooling is not the same as e-learning. Homeschooling is about picking your child's interest and creating or finding curriculum around the interest. We're not asking you to create everything from scratch. There are lots of things out there. And again, in our book, we have lots of recommendations of the different curricula you can use to make sure that you support your child along the journey.
And it's direct instruction. You don't have to be in front of a computer. You can be actually coloring or having workbooks or things that you don't need the internet for. Mm-hmm. And it can be one-on-one. When you think about it, a child who goes to public school is in a room with 25 other children or more, and the teacher can only do maybe, if they're lucky, 15 minutes of one-on-one interaction with a child per week. And if you really add it up, think about it, you can do one-on-one instruction for your child for 2 hours a day, even more. Now, you have to keep in mind an attention span of a 5 or 6 year old is not an hour long.
That's right.
It's about 10 or 15 minutes. So you have to really gauge yourself as a parent, and that's why we're here to help, so you can learn about those sort of things.
Nice. Karen, can you just share one of your experiences with an interest with maybe a 9 to 12 grader, sorry?
Oh, yeah, the most fascinating one. And I think I've actually asked him to be on our show. This young man was really, his mother came to me when he was 5, and he just hated writing. He hated reading. So I said, look, we have to does he like to do anything? And his mom said, well, he likes to draw pictures of things that he builds. And I said, well, you can read instruction manuals and you can see what he's designing, because that's higher order thinking. He's thinking about how things work and how they're built. So, and find out what he's interested in. So they did. They started reading books about, cars and trucks and things that he was interested in. And then he became interested in digital printing.
Wow.
And he designed these little Spider-Man throwers, and he built them and designed them on AutoCAD or some kind of program, Python or something. Every time I do an evaluation, I learn something from this child. Mm-hmm. And he actually has printers. He prints out these different things now to make all kinds of figurines, and these Spider-Man printers would, things would shoot darts and have a string attached to them. It was really fascinating. And now he has his own business.
Wow.
And he is 15.
Wow.
And he's selling things that he makes on his digital printer.
Wow.
And meanwhile, he is taking FLVS courses for his math and his science, because I have a hunch that this man is going to want to go to college.
Yes.
But maybe not. I've had others, homeschool boys and girls, who come to me and they have their own business by the time they're 18, and they're making a living off of what they're passionate about. Mm-hmm. So it's fascinating. And some people, everyone is different. Some people go at different paces. There's so many opportunities now with the digital experience of correspondence schools. You don't even have to be digital, but there's so many opportunities.
Right. Nice. Well, I'm glad, and I hope that those people listening would realize that from your interest, that's what can happen. A whole business can grow out of it. And so I want parents to understand that that's what homeschooling is about. So Karen, can you just tell our parents how we can move from that interest inventory to our goal setting? We want them to be able to set goals. That's before you start all of the other things that parents want to worry about, the curriculum and all of that. But we want to make sure, if we know what your interests are, how do we use that to create our goals? So take it away.
Well, you have to, as a parent, it really is your responsibility to make sure your child does meet the standards for their grade level. So in our book, we do have a set of what they need to know for each grade in a simplified form. And of course, you can go online and find oodles of PDFs that tell you about the Common Core, because they're trying to unify that across the country right now.
Yes.
So each district has the Common Core in their standards. But let's say, take a look at something that they pick, training animals. Let's say your child says, I want to train animals. Well, you can think about how that can be used to meet their standards and goals. So let's say you have, I'll do it for different grades. Let's say it's a second grader. Well, then every day they could read a little book about how to train their dog, and they can write it in their journal. They can draw a picture of what they're doing. They can map out a training schedule. So there's all kinds of applications that they can construct that meet those standards and expectations of learning. So if you think about it, you pick the thing that you're interested in, then you read about it, then you write about it, then you think about what's the science of it, what's the math of it. And if you ask yourself those questions for any one of these things on this interest inventory right here, you will find that there is math, science, reading, writing that you can do about that topic. And exactly. As you do this, you'll get more in depth about your subject.
Mm-hmm. So listeners who have obtained a copy of our book, if they have not yet, you can get a copy on Amazon for just $2.99, the e-copy, or you can purchase the hard copy, which is $7.99. And on page 17, we have examples of how you can translate that interest into goals. For example, if a child is interested in fish, maybe they want to do, they like, so you have here, we have set up and care for fish in an aquarium, write or draw what I observe each week. So the kids are doing their writing, they're doing their, because of course, an aquarium is very technical. There's a specific water temperature you must have, a specific, the acidity and the pH, all of those things. There are so many things about an aquarium that we just overlook sometimes, because you can wind up with all your fish dead next day if everything in there is not right. And I've seen it happen, Karen. I've seen it happen because somebody didn't know that it was all of that, and then we ended up with fish that were not very happy. So we want parents to know that's how we translate it. So if a child says they're interested in fish or an aquarium, we want to make sure that they understand that there's a science behind keeping or having an aquarium. What is the science behind that? There's a math behind that. What is the volume? How much water do you need versus the amount of air in there? So all of those things, there's the math portion of it. You have the science where they do the observations daily. You have also where they can write. So we want parents to understand that that's what we mean when we say, now that we have our interests, how do we set goals using those interests? And our book helps you figure it out. And if you're struggling, you can email us. Email Karen, email myself. We have the email up there. And then we will actually help you figure out how you create that curriculum for your child around their interests. And of course, we have in here as well lots of popular homeschooling curriculum that's out there that we recommend as well for you.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say this should be the only thing in your course of study. This is the thing that you use to motivate your child. And of course, there'll be other nuts and bolts of the skills that the worksheets and the workbooks and the math programs can really walk you through, that are very hands-on and very, if you just have the book, you don't have to depend on that electronic computer connection to a teacher where you have to send in the work. If you just have that workbook right in front of you, you can go through the pages and say, oh, they did it, they didn't do it, put a check on the top if they did, that kind of thing. And then you'll have materials to show that you've really been doing study over the course of the year. So take a look at our interest inventories. And this one here is for kindergarten through second grade or third grade. And then we have two or three more different grade levels, an upper elementary, middle, and high school one. And so know, though, that no two children are alike. So some of the younger kids might go to a little older one, and some of the older children might want to do some of the younger. So follow your child's lead in this, in what they're interested in, and you might learn something new about your child. So,
yes, definitely.
I'm still learning about my child. So as we said, you interview your child, have follow through. So that interview is great. You have them circle everything they like. And then you have to go back and say, well, let's take a look at all these things we circled. Now put them in order of 1 through 10. Which one do you want to do most? Which one do you want to do least? And then, okay, tomorrow we're going to write about the thing you want to do and make a plan. What do we want to do? How do we want to do it? What are the steps? And when should we be done with it? And that will help them follow through. And they will, over the course of time, develop new interests. And so this
Yes.
can be a continual process.
Yes, definitely. Awesome. So I hope that we have answered your questions tonight on the step one of your homeschooling journey, which is write your letter of intent, create or have your child go through an interest inventory, and then translate that into goals. The next time we meet with you, which is the following Tuesday, we will talk about scheduling.
Oh, I want to say one more thing about goals. I also have a goal sheet that I've been working on. I don't have it here today, but if you email me, I'll give it to you for brief. But if you set goals and look at your journey, and you can keep track of how you meet your goals. And once you set it, you write it down, put it in your planner, and then at the end of the year, you can come back to it and say, hey, did I meet that goal that we were talking about in September with my child? And sometimes the answer will be yes, and sometimes it might be no, or sometimes it'll be, oh, I forgot about that. But over time, it's really important that children start reflecting on what their plans were and if they did what they planned to do, and think more about what they want to do in the future. And that reflection will make them a better lifelong learner. Because I know as a writer, and boy, Martha and I know this.
Oh yes.
We went over this book that we wrote how many times? I don't know.
A lot of times, 5 hours at a time.
It's about, and we reflected upon it. And so this was the most fun book I've ever written. It's because I had a chance, and I think Martha did too, to go back and think about what the whole process of education and how that pertains to each individual student over time. And so reflection is such a powerful tool. So all of this is a process. And one thing about a process is it doesn't stop. It continues over time. That's why we're doing this. Every Tuesday, we're going to meet with you and say, here's the process, and how are you doing with this process? And I think eventually we're going to have people coming in asking questions, and maybe inviting some students to come in, and we are planning a little present for you on Wednesday. Can we tell them what it is?
To give away the giveaways? Yes. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Wednesday, we have a little surprise for you. We are actually going to give you our book on Kindle. So we're going to have a giveaway on Kindle, and you can just go to Amazon and download it for free.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that, because we wrote this not just because we wanted to be prolific writers, but because we really care, and we want to make the world better and make more choices available to families who need it.
Nice. Well, thank you for your listen, and we look forward to hearing from you to seeing you next Tuesday, and when we talk to you about scheduling and about picking your curriculum. Meanwhile, we want you to focus, if you haven't started already and you're still vacillating between whether you should homeschool or stay where you are, you still have time. Just remember, it's up to how quickly the pacing is all yours. Just go ahead and write your letter of intent, get your interest inventory going out, and then start setting your goals. And then we'll help you next week figure out how to move on from there.
Oh, and I want to just repeat what you said. The pacing is all yours. So you can leave the public school and do it for a month or two, and then come back in 2 months. But then you have to tell them you're back. But that letter of intent is fine. And then they will do the evaluation at the end of the year when we do come back. So.
Yes, and but what I really wanted them to know about pacing, for example, in the public school, we do 180 days a year or you can say 36 weeks. We have specific times that we need to finish. A homeschool parent can drag it on past our May 30th day, or they can finish even before, as long as you can show growth. And we'll come to that as we go along, to just let you understand that as long as you can show evidence of growth, you have made gains from one grade level to the next. That's about it, you know,
Okay.
in certain areas. But thank you very much for your listen. Show that slide again, Karen, with our information on there.
Oh, yeah.
Our email addresses are there. You can email Karen or myself. Just be sure to include in your subject, homeschool now, and we will provide you with a copy of this presentation. And by then, we hope you would have had your book, your copy on Amazon.
Great. And don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like or subscribe.
Exactly. And if you bought a book on Amazon, please go back and give us a review. We would love that so much.
That makes all the difference. Yeah, especially if you get the book for free. Please, 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 please review.
Yes. But thank you again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share as well. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.